What do you say to people who just fundamentally don't understand why the app where they watch silly dance videos is a national security threat?
Yeah, I would say a couple things. One, look what happened last week. TikTok, when it got word that this bill was moving forward, forced a push notification on all its users, filled with lies about what the bill actually was. They called it an outright ban. It was an outright lie. The bill attempts a divestiture, attempt to separate TikTok from the parent company ByteDance. And then these users were then compelled to call their members of Congress, and we had millions of kids calling Congress, in some cases threatening suicide, in another case impersonating a congressman's son. This was a preview of what could happen if the CCP wanted to use the app to prevent Congress from acting, say, on a debate over authorizing force to defend Taiwan or removing China's permanent normal trade relations status. The possibility for dangerous propaganda is too immense to allow one of our foremost adversaries to have this control over what is increasingly becoming the dominant news platform in America.
With all due respect,
yeah, it is also a threat when the app is used to spy on Americans, when it is used, as the unclassified director of National Intelligence Assessment said yesterday, to interfere and meddle in American elections. That was the words of the DNI yesterday, not my own words, right? So we already have proof that that's happening. We have every single Biden and Trump national security official saying under its current ownership structure, the threat posed by TikTok is too severe. So to those Americans who are still unpersuaded this is a threat, I would say the choice is in TikTok's hands. I have no problem with continued dance videos or even political campaigning on TikTok so long as the ownership structure changes. And I think the world we all want to live in is one in which ByteDance divests from TikTok and TikTok can continue under different ownership. The possibility of CCP interference and control of the algorithm is what we're trying to address with this bill.
In practical ways for people?
I don't think the concerns of the political concerns should trump the serious national security concerns that 352 members of the House, Democrats and Republicans, just expressed. I get that members of Congress always want to get reelected, and I've bemoaned the fact that the constant focus on getting reelected often takes precedence over just doing our job and doing the right thing. But here, the national security concerns became too big to ignore, and you just had the House in overwhelming fashion. And something I haven't seen, I don't know, for something this important in my 8 years in Congress, say that no, the political concerns are outweighed by the national security concerns. And I don't think courting the clicks of 17-year-olds should take precedence over allowing our foremost foreign adversary to dominate what is increasingly becoming the primary news source for Americans under the age of 30. I think this should be very concerned. We've had incidences of the app being used to target journalists, for example. There are disparities in certain topics that make absolutely no sense, particularly post-October 7th, when you use TikTok's own metrics to compare certain hashtags that go viral to what happens on Instagram, for example. When you start to delve into topics that would be sensitive for the Chinese Communist Party, whether it's the genocide in Xinjiang, whether it's COVID origins, whether it's Tibet, all of a sudden there are massive disparities between other platforms and TikTok that can't be explained away by things like the fact that India is not allowed on the platform. So for all those reasons, people should be concerned, but there's no concerns with the app continuing as long as TikTok makes the choice to break up with the Chinese Communist Party. No, because I had a previous bill, the Anti-Social CCP Act, which goes back 2 years. There's been multiple efforts. Our committee has made no secret of our concerns on the issue. One of the policy recommendations in our last policy report at the end of last year was to tackle this issue of foreign adversary control of social media. So no one should be surprised that we've been working for over 8 months on a bill. The fact that we didn't leak the content of those negotiations to the media is just a function of how serious our members were. We had multiple iterations. We invited technical assistance from the White House, which improved the bill. Sometimes, I wish they would just have said your original bill was the right thing, but that's how it works. This is actually an example of how the process is supposed to work, right? You have give and take, particularly in divided government, between the parties. You have give and take between the branches. You have separation of powers, and we went through multiple iterations of the bill, and then it got a 50-0 vote in the Committee of Jurisdiction. Hats off to Kathy McMorris-Rodgers and Frank Pallone for the work that they provided on this, and then we got the 352 vote on the House floor. And it was a 12-page bill. I mean, it wasn't like an omnibus that we just shoved in people's faces. Like, even a member of Congress could read 12 pages in a matter of hours.
How do you?
It's guaranteed. The most important variable was the number we posted today. And I think 350, was a 2 or 1? Let me check my, does anybody know?
352.
352, I got it right there. The number we posted today, I think, makes it impossible for the Senate to ignore the effort. I think the most prudent thing for us to do now is to just engage with our colleagues in the Senate. I would welcome a conversation with Senator Schumer. I know Senator Schumer is very concerned about the threat posed by the Chinese Communist Party. If memory serves, I think he joined Senator Cotton on a letter regarding TikTok in 2020, maybe. Check me on that. So I would welcome that conversation. I would welcome a conversation with Senator Cantwell, Senator Cruz on the Committee of Jurisdiction. So I think we just need to have those conversations with our colleagues. We've already had a very productive conversation with Senators Warner and Rubio, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for making people aware of the threat. Senator Warner in particular was out there talking about the threat of ByteDance's ownership of TikTok almost before anyone. And so I think there's an opportunity for us to have a productive dialogue with the Senate, and particularly given that we got so many bipartisan votes today in the House.
All right, thanks.
Question?
Thank you.